friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. What are some major struggles that you've gone through trying to build this thing up? Or has it just been sunshine?
No.
You'd be the first person to go in business for yourself if you didn't have complications.
Right. Well, and every day there's something, right? It's sometimes I feel like I'm not busy enough, and sometimes I feel like I'm too busy. Do I need to hire somebody? And then all of a sudden there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, good thing I didn't hire somebody. You know?
You can find Fort Worth Roots on all your favorite streaming platforms: Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify. We can also be found on YouTube. There are videos associated with these episodes. Go to YouTube and type in Fort Worth Roots. We've got information on events coming up and more information about all of our sponsors at the end of the show. This show is sponsored by Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk. Go to roofingsolutionshouk.com or get them on phone 817-882-6520. And by mentioning that you heard about them on the Fort Worth Roots podcast, you can get 50% off of a roofing tune-up, and I'll tell you more about that at the end of the episode. This next weekend, February 4th, out at Ridgely Theater, our friends Pooh Live Crew are doing their annual blowout. It's going to be an incredible performance. Don't miss it. Ridgely Theater, February 4th. Tickets can be found at PoohLiveCrew.com. Today's guest is somebody that we've wanted on the show for a very long time. If you've been following Fort Worth Roots either on social media or you've seen some of the videos of our episodes, you might have seen this really incredible piece of artwork that we've been carrying around with us from studio situation to studio situation, and now it hangs proudly on the wall here at the new studio located just outside of downtown Fort Worth, Texas. Anyway, we've wanted to have the designer, the guy that created the thing, on the show, so we finally got that opportunity. So today's episode largely centers around our new friend, his business, how he created our sign, and a little bit about Fort Worth and the changes we've experienced since the 2020 COVID pandemic. We also have our stand-in co-host Stephani Danals with us today. You can find our guest at botbros.com or dirlydesign.com. That will be in the show notes. That's enough talking out of me. Thank y'all for being here. Please give it up for our new friend, Josh Martinez, and let's start the show. All right, we got Josh Martinez with Dirly Designs. Did I say it right?
Yeah, that's it.
And then Stephani Danals with Stephani Danals Photography. What's up, man? How you doing today?
Pretty good.
Saturday. You're a little bit nervous. Don't worry about it, man. A little bit, yeah. It's just a podcast.
All right. Nobody's listening, right?
No, nobody's listening. A lot more people listen now, today, than they did when you made this badass sign right here.
It looks good up there.
And I've been wanting you on the show ever since Stephani brought this to me, but it is so incredible. And I've been wanting an opportunity to ask you about it because you had a very crude image. And from that, you developed a 4-layer, beautiful masterpiece. So how did you do that? I know Stephani probably had quite a bit to say about the design, but kind of walk me through that. How did you come up with this?
Start out with, I use a couple different programs, really.
Yeah.
One to make the image a little cleaner. Yeah. Another one to break up the image into a few different layers.
And where did you get the original source image?
Man, I think I just found it online. Or did you send me something?
Maybe.
Yeah. It was a rough picture. It took me a little while to get it to where I needed it to be.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I like multiple layers.
Yeah.
So I just, kind of ran with it from there.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's been the centerpiece of most conversations when people come into the studio. They're like, wow. As soon as they see that thing, they're just blown away by it. So
I appreciate that.
It's incredible.
Thanks, man.
So, everything from the brush steel to the way you kind of painted on top of the top layer here.
So that was something I decided last minute. I had it all together, and I was like,
something's missing.
I think I can make this pop a little bit more. Yeah, so I added that, and I think it looks great.
It came out so good.
Thanks.
Is it hard for you to give away something like that once you're completed with it?
It is. It's like my baby, and I'm never really happy with it. Looking at it right now, I'm like, man, I probably could have done this a little better. I probably could have touched that up a little bit.
No, I get that for sure.
Even the contrast of the wood, I love that too.
And things are still moving along with Dirly Designs. I see you on social media making all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, I don't post as much as I should. But yeah, things are still going well, and man, I do all kinds of stuff, and it's almost all things in the metal industry. I do a lot of drafting and design is like the main thing I do.
Yeah.
For engineering firms, fabrication shops.
Okay.
I try to do stuff like this when I can. It just it just depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
Some days.
What's going on with this truck chassis here?
So that's more along the lines of the things I do more often, and so that do you know what an as-built is?
No, tell me.
Okay, so somebody built something. They built this chassis.
Yeah.
Just based off shop knowledge, no drawings, and so they call somebody like me to come document it basically. And so I go take all the measurements, figure out what all member sizes they're using.
And you're gonna try to make it to scale on a smaller.
Right. So I start out by making this 3D model, and from there I make 2D drawings, which you can kind of see in the back. So then I make fabrication drawings.
Okay.
So then they can start kicking these things out once they have a set of drawings.
So you're building a template, and they're going to mass produce these. Is that what you're?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. And how big is this? Is this it sits on the desk size?
That's about 40 foot.
Oh, okay. So this is a legit trailer.
It's a trailer,
for
yeah.
a truck,
Yeah.
for a semi truck,
Right.
And okay, wow.
And I've done a few of these now. One that I'm working on currently is an intermodal trailer. So that's a trailer, looks like this, but it carries a shipping container.
Okay.
And yeah, same. It was the same process there. They needed it documented. They wanted drawings, fabrication drawings, and so I put it together. And on that project, actually, I was able to. They needed someone to fabricate it, and I have a lot of contacts. I've been working in this industry for a while, so I was able to connect them with the right people to build these trailers. So yeah, we're building a bunch of trailers.
That's wild. Do you have an engineering degree?
No, I don't.
So you're still home-based business?
Yeah.
You got any kind of goals to set up a brick and mortar outside of the
We're
house?
working on it. So what I'm looking to do is me and my wife are looking to move sometime soon, get a little bit of land, and I'd like to just build a shop.
Gonna stay around here?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love Fort Worth. I love Arlington. And so we're going to stay in this area. But the plan is to have a shop at some point.
You need a little bit of room.
A little bit of room, build an office in it. Right now, I can't have meetings. My office is also my wife's makeup table room, and so it's a little awkward in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm looking to grow and get a little bigger, and really right now I need an office. So
Yeah.
that's.
Is this one of your larger projects, or have you done something similar to this with others?
Something I've been designing for about 10 years, over 10 years, are airport walkways, and that's something I started at the engineering firm.
Huh.
And so it's the fixed portion of it. So when you're at an airport, there's the part of the bridge that moves, right?
Right.
So the center point, the rotunda, a lot of times there's a fixed bridge from the terminal to that pivot point.
Yeah.
And I've been designing those for literally for over 10 years.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I did them at the first engineering firm, second engineering firm, and now I still work on them.
Yeah. So have I gotten onto an airplane and walked
Probably.
over one of your bridges?
So we've done them all over the United States, South America. I've done the corporate offices in Spain. I've helped them design stuff they use in Europe. So more than likely, if you've been at a major airport in the last 10 years, you've been on one of these walkways.
Dude, this is incredible.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
And I didn't know that anybody could do what you're doing without, some serious credentials or engineering degree or something like that. Not to say that you don't have the experience for it, but
Right. Well, and most things need to be looked at by an engineer at some
Yeah.
point. Like these walkways, for example, they've been more or less pre-engineered. So I know that they can span 60 foot between columns. I know that they can, I know what they can do at this point. If we run into a situation that's uncommon, then I work with an engineer, and it's actually the guy that hired me to begin with. I still work with him on these walkways.
okay. Yeah.
And so if we need engineering, he looks at it, and yeah, I mean,
That is so cool, man.
it's random,
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
think about it, but they're out there, they're everywhere. Millions of people use them, and somebody's got to design them.
Yeah. And having started your business in 2020, this is all fairly new for you as far as being a business owner.
Yep.
What are some major struggles that you've gone through trying to build this thing up? Or has it just been sunshine?
No.
You'd be the first person to go in business for yourself if you didn't have complications.
Right. Well, and every day there's something, right? It's sometimes I feel like I'm not busy enough, and sometimes I feel like I'm too busy. Do I need to hire somebody? And then all of a sudden there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, good thing I didn't hire somebody.
Right.
There's always some struggle. I wish I had a good advice for people out there, but it's really just sticking with it.
Yeah.
You know, and some people may not want to hear this, but sometimes you just need to quit. You know, sometimes things are, you know, like jobs, for example. You know, if you hate your job, there's nothing wrong with quitting and finding something else. There's always a better job out there. But same thing with running a business. Sometimes you run into something I'm in over my head. And luckily, I know a lot of people in this industry, and I can give it to somebody that knows what they're doing. But yeah, I mean, there's always something. I can say I've never had a perfect day since I've started, but I have more good days than bad days for sure.
Yeah. Well, learning curves, and
right.
You know, you're 3 years into it now, right? So you're probably getting a little more adapted to the changing environment and thinking on your feet. And,
yeah.
Any big projects on the horizon?
So man, I have a lot of airport walkways that are pending right now. Some more trailer stuff I'm working on. Somewhere I posted last year, I did some trophies for the Houston Police Department.
Yeah, I saw those.
I saw those too.
Very cool.
Yeah, they ordered more this year and double the amount this year, which is...
For the folks at home that aren't watching on YouTube, they are mounted on what appears to be wood.
Yeah.
Multiple layers, and it's got, what's the blue portion? What's that first layer?
It's a marksmanship team.
Marksmanship on a blue ribbon across a very good-looking Houston Police badge. It's got, it looks like you've got probably 3 layers there.
Yeah.
If you don't count the wood, 4. And then it's got another dimension to it because you've got 2022.
So these are clay shoot.
Yeah.
And then this here too.
That's very slick. If y'all want to see this, you can go to Instagram and look up DERLY.design. You can see these photographs. We'll have it in the show notes, of course. That's cool, man. How long does it take you to put something like that together?
I mean, the hardest part is the design.
Yeah. Does the customer give you a lot of specifics, or did you just kind of, check this out? This is what I came up with. They're like, damn, that looks good.
So usually, like these guys, they saw some other trophies I made, and the words I love to hear from a customer is, "We trust you." So they really didn't give me any direction.
Yeah.
They just said, "Make us something cool." I liked their badge, so I decided to run with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the designing is what takes probably the most time. Figuring out how I'm going to build these. Usually, and like with your sign, I make a 3D model of pretty much everything before I send it to the laser cutter to get it laser cut, and then weld them up. So, you know, my welding is not perfect. I just started welding when I started my business a couple years ago, so I wouldn't say I wouldn't even really call myself a welder, but I can,
tack
some
weld,
things
right?
together, and I'm pretty good with a grinder, so I can make sure it looks nice.
Smooth it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I would say a few days designing. Once I have one of these made and I have an idea of what I need to do, then I can start making some templates. And put it together.
How many of those did you make for Houston Police?
I think I had 14 of them.
Yeah.
And then they ordered 20 something on this next go around.
They'll be back for more.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yep, that looks great.
Thanks.
Well, we've got a sponsor that does larger scale stuff like this, but they don't do anything quite that intricate as far as I know. I've been trying to get them on the show. It's our friends at Wood Post Metalworks. Have you ran into them?
I don't know them, but I've seen their work. Yeah, they do really good work.
Really, really good stuff, but I haven't seen them pop out anything quite that intricate. I mean, that is so many different layers to that. You're using multiple materials, you're riveting and welding, and that's some real art, man.
I appreciate it.
Excellent. Oh, cool. Did you do
this one?
Did you do that? The wires?
Yeah. So before
wire sculpture of 2 people on a bicycle.
So before
pretty slick.
Working at an engineering firm, I did a lot of art, wire sculptures, paintings, things like that. And the wire sculptures, I made quite a few of them. The first one I did was an Indian. And I did it years ago, and I posted it on Facebook, and some guy that works for the Livestrong organization saw it online and then asked me to do a sculpture of Lance Armstrong, and this was before things got a little weird with Lance. And so they were going to put it up for charity, and I ended up building it, taking it to Austin, and they ended up liking it so much that they didn't put it up for charity. They kept it in the corporate office there in Austin.
Nice.
And this is so when the Lance Armstrong scandal happened, they were talking about it in Good Morning America.
Yeah.
And for about 5 seconds on Good Morning America. They were showing my sculpture.
Oh, slip.
I was like, not the way I wanted to be on TV, but there it is.
That's funny.
Made it.
Okay, so that one.
So I was thinking of this one and that one.
Yeah. Yeah, so
That's cool. So you did like a landscape thing.
right.
And I was thinking, like I said, they went together, but it's the Starry Night.
Yeah.
But it's cool, right?
Kind of a sculpture probably 7 or 8 feet tall.
Yeah, the tallest one's
Yeah.
about 7.
It's supposed to be kind of inspired by Van Gogh Starry Night.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and a lot of that was my customer's idea. He liked Van Gogh, he liked that painting, and so he wanted some big flames, and he backlit them, and yeah, those came out really
Yeah,
cool.
and it looks really cool. Like the unlit versus the lit, it looks like two totally
Way
different things,
different.
which is why it looks so cool.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
So y'all have been here in Fort Worth for some time now. Did you grow up here?
No, I grew up in a small town outside of Abilene.
Oh, okay. What's the name of this small town?
Holly?
Oh, okay. I'm from Abilene originally.
Oh, are you really?
Went to Abilene High, so
Nice.
I'm familiar with Holly.
Yeah.
We never go to Holly.
No, nobody does really. Yeah, so I grew up in Holly, and as soon as I graduated, we moved out here to go to UTA. Me and a buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and since after high school, I've lived either Arlington or Fort Worth.
Okay. Yeah, my parents lived in Arlington for a while, and man, it's changed a lot.
Way different.
I guess Fort Worth has too, but
Not like
Arlington seems like a whole different place now.
It is. Yeah.
Like not the nice little metroplex town that it used to be.
All right.
So, but they've got the Cowboys now. So,
Yeah.
what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah, that whole area. I mean, I lived there before the stadium was there, and it was rough in that area before then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's changed a lot. And I still love it, man. I've lived there for about 10 years, and me and my wife, we've considered moving back to Arlington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Just
so
depends on the
congested.
area.
Right.
I lived there for a minute too in college. I went to UTA too, but
Yeah.
didn't stay there.
Yeah. Not my favorite place to go anymore. It's Fort Worth has gotten to be such a powerhouse for entertainment that
Right.
there's I can't think of one reason that I'd go to Dallas or Arlington's a little different just because it does have the Cowboy Stadium. It does have the Rangers. There's the
Right.
water park, probably the best water park this side of Texas, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we actually, Stephanie's smirking because I talked about that this past episode.
I didn't hear it.
Did you get to that part yet?
No.
It's episode 117 for anybody that's wondering, and there's a story about Hurricane Harbor or Wet n Wild,
probably don't
whatever it's
wanna hear
called.
it.
Nah,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad actually. We won't go into that. So
Is it about a kid
there's a kid involved, yeah.
touching your leg or something?
Well, not really touching my leg, no. Are we going to do this right now? Do you want to rehash the story?
I guess I
Do I
did
need to
hear
step
part of it,
outside?
but didn't know what it was.
No, it's fine. No, it was just a story about a kid peeing on my leg.
Oh,
Peeing
no.
and you're like, oh, that's nice.
Anyway, so we'll just move right on from that.
Yeah, I guess I
It's
didn't pick up
episode
the whole story.
117, if anybody wants to hear that. I actually was talking to Itchy Richie and Slim Pickens, the guys that were on that recording, and I told them, I said, I think I need to rename this episode the F-Bomb because it's just, I mean, if you did a ticker count on the number of times, especially the last 30 minutes of the show,
It got rough. Huh?
it was bad.
Yeah.
And we try to keep it somewhat PG-13 on the Fort Worth roots, so, yeah. But it was too good of an episode. We were having so much fun that it's
That's
like,
funny.
I'm not gonna change this.
Right.
So, sometimes that does occur.
Yeah.
So we've been checking out a lot of live music lately, and talking to a lot of people about how the culture has kind of changed. People don't go out very much anymore, and usually the way it's always worked with these local shows is you'll have maybe 2, 3, or 4 bands before the headliner,
Right.
and the headliner will go on at like 10 or 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's always been. But
Yeah.
like nowadays, after COVID, 10 o'clock is really late.
It is.
And people don't like staying out for that. So what
Yeah.
you'll end up having is people stay for the first 3 shows, and then the headliner will kick up. People might listen to the first song, and then they're out.
Right.
Or we went to one and it had 8 bands.
Really?
8. That is a lot
That is
to
a lot.
sit through.
It's actually
It
too
was
many.
a
We found out.
long
Right.
night.
Yeah.
And especially if you want to see that last band. So we were there for 8 shows.
It was terrible.
Right.
I don't want to ever do that again.
Yeah.
But our friends were playing the headliner spot. And it was their debut.
Right.
First time their band had ever played on stage. So we're like, okay, we're really just going to have to sit through
Stick it
this.
out. Yeah. Where was it?
This is at Ridgely Room.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to see Pooh Live Crew. By the time this episode comes out, it would have already happened. But I think, yeah. But anyway, Pooh Live Crew's playing at Ridgely Room. And the only one wait a minute, I said that wrong.
Ridgely Room is where we just were at.
Yeah, we're not going to.
They're playing at the main Ridgely Theater. I bet.
They're in the big room. So
they're a big band.
Ridgely Theater is split up into multiple venues, and so we've been to Ridgely Room, and I'm just not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
It's too loud. It's a small space.
I've never been there.
Yeah, it's on the, like, when you go in the main part of Ridgely, you don't go in that entrance. You go around the side where there's, like, those brick lights that are lit up.
Right.
And you go in that. And it's like this long, skinny room. And it's like the bartenders wear earplugs.
It's just not a great vibe.
And then there's like a lounge, and then there's the main theater, which I've been to and seen, like Dashboard Confessional when they first came out. And then I've been back and seen Josh Weathers. It's like they do all different kinds of stuff, but it's like more open and lots of room to move and some chairs, stadium seating, standing room.
And I've never seen the main room, so I'm just hoping, I'm sure based on what I've heard, better. It's going to be way better. Right. But anyway, yeah, if we're going to Ridgely Room next time, I am definitely bringing earplugs.
Yeah.
It's just too damn loud.
Right.
It's a small room. It'd be like packing theater-worthy equipment into this room and then turning it up full blast. Right. You know, somebody's going to have earbleeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Earbleeds?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, actually it is.
If you're going to experience them, you're going to experience earbleeds at the Ridgely Room.
Yeah, the last show I went to was a couple weeks ago. Not my favorite place to see a show, Billy Bob's, but the Toadies.
Yeah.
Which I love the
cool,
Toadies.
Man.
Yeah.
You got to see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew they were in
last
town.
time they were in.
But for me, like Billy Bob's, I mean, even the Toadies, it's like hard pass.
Right.
I
just
think
can't
saw
do
them there
it.
too.
I can't
couple
do
years
it.
ago.
Not this one though.
No, the Toadies. I think I saw them at Billy Bob's a couple years ago.
Yeah. So there's been a few disappointments as far as venues. The Ridgely Room, I'm just not a big fan of. And then just recently, Tim Love's Help. What's the name of that place?
Tannehill.
Yeah. And I was so excited about it because we had Tim Love on the show.
Right.
Super good guy.
Yeah.
Great episode.
Josh Weathers was playing.
And we went to go see Josh Weathers. And it was the first time we'd been to this venue. It'd been open for maybe 6-7 weeks, something like that. And it just wasn't good vibes.
Yeah.
Wasn't a big fan. It's just a cold concrete
standing
cube.
room only.
Where is it?
It's on Mule Alley. All that new stuff down there off Exchange. So, and I don't know. I was just hoping it'd be awesome.
I mean, you're just standing there for a while waiting for the bands to start and then through the whole thing. It's just...
There's one bar.
It's not super...
Really?
Security will not let you in and out. You're either in or you're out.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get to do back and forth.
The show ended. It's like, grab your people that went to the bathroom because you might not be able to come back and get your people. They were so serious about it. And you're like,
as soon as the show was over or as soon as Josh Weathers was done, I'm not even sure the last note had faded out of the reverb yet, and they were just pushing everybody out the door.
It's like, what if you want to buy some merch and run to the bathroom and then talk to your friend for 3 seconds?
Right.
Like, calm down.
Not happening. Not here. So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hope it kind of takes on a life of its own and becomes a little bit warmer of an establishment because, you know, it's a space where musicians can go and play, and they've done a good job of bringing in local acts. I don't remember the name of the show. Happened about a month ago, but they did like a local music thing where they brought in 8 to a dozen bands and did like a $10 night. People were able to go in there and see a bunch of different bands and stuff. So at least they're doing that.
Right.
Because they have some agreement, I guess, don't quote me on this, but Live Nation, where Live Nation handles all their shows and stuff. So when I heard that, I was like, well, I guess local music's out.
Yeah.
Right? Unless they go through Live Nation. Yeah. Those criminals. So, but at least they're doing that. So.
Yeah.
I probably needed to stop talking shit about the place. I was just got my feelings hurt. I was super pumped. Yeah. Really excited. And then we got there, watched the show. And by the way, Josh Weathers was great.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
It's just the venue gave me bad vibes.
I've seen they've had some pretty big shows.
Oh yeah.
And I just
already.
Been there. Yeah. So what do y'all think about the new Magnolia?
We caught
just
a show
went this week too.
Was that last week?
After the 8-band night, we went to a 4-band night there. But all of them were great. So it wasn't
murderers.
Right.
Just it was excellent.
That was about perfect about the amount of music. And
we started with were Jaybirds up first?
Jaybirds first.
So Jaybirds, have you heard them yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh dude. Excellent. So Jaybirds. Latimer, young Latimer.
Good Latimer.
Good Latimer.
Good Latimer.
They were great. They were excellent. And everybody kind of switched instruments and did different stuff, and everybody sang, and they're excellent.
And I think like one of them was a married couple. Jay Birds is a married couple. Two of the people, and I think the Good Latimer was too.
Guy on keys and the girl on bass or guitar.
I think she did both.
I think she was on bass. So that was good. And then Taylor Young Band, and then our homies, the Traumatics, Doc Rock, and then I can't remember what the bassist, what he goes by, but it's...
I can't remember either.
I think it's Doc something. Anyway, they're all surgeons.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
But they're excellent.
Really
they're getting
good.
a lot of radio time. So anyway, Magnolia Motor Lounge, I definitely get attached to these places. Right. Obviously, probably the way I'm talking about vibes and whatnot. But the original Magnolia Motor Lounge was, it's iconic.
Yeah.
Very warm, very inviting. And I think they picked a really cool spot for the new Magnolia Motor Lounge because it's right next to that old school German restaurant.
I love that German restaurant.
And have you been to Magnolia Motor Lounge, the new location?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little more open, a little more space, I think.
Oh, yeah.
With the seating and the stuff, and that'll be good.
The indoor scene is much better.
Yeah.
But the old Magnolia had a little outdoor area that was pretty nice. Yeah. I don't guess they have an outdoor area.
I don't
really.
think so. No.
It looked like they could probably set something up right there in the parking lot, just in front of the doors, maybe. Yeah. But it wouldn't be like old Mags. So.
Yeah, that place was iconic. The old one. I mean,
I don't even remember much of an outside there. I guess I was always inside.
It was always closed in. Yeah. Well, not always, but they had the big just rubber clear enclosure around it, but they could roll them up when it got too hot. So
yeah, I guess I just always was inside.
It's a good little space. Yeah. But 7th Street's gone to shit. I'm really glad that those people pulled out of there. Fred's is another one that it's like it's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah.
Have you been to the new one over there too?
I have.
Okay.
I was sad that the restaurant closed.
Right.
Yeah.
That was there. Buffalo West. Did you ever go there?
I hadn't been there.
It was the shit, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I loved it. It was
at right there by Golden Corral.
Yeah, where the Fred's is.
Yeah, I'd never been there.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived out here for years. I never even saw it until right before it closed. So I was able to go a couple times and then ended up shutting it down.
Yeah, that always sucks.
But no, I like that area a lot. The German restaurant. I go there all the time.
It's a good space now. Yeah. I mean, the writing was on the wall for 7th Street.
And I think things are going to start migrating that way.
They have to.
Yeah.
Well, and like people were saying, parking's going to be better at all these venues, easier to get in and out. It just, that becomes a hassle on 7th Street too.
You look at everything we lost there too. What was right next to Mags? I never can remember.
Capital Bar.
No.
And then it became the Backyard something, Cowdy Ugly. All the places didn't survive.
Okay, but right in between what you're talking about and Mags is another place where they had the Mechanical Bull and... Anyway, it's right next. I mean, it's almost the same parking lot as Mags. It's right next to it.
Then it was Capital Bar when it changed names.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, all that stuff just gone almost overnight. And then the Backyard or whatever that's right behind Mags.
Yeah, that was connected to Capital Bar.
I don't know if that's still a thing or not, but then Varsity's closed.
I heard
Did you know that?
No. Yeah, I just saw the article.
I mean, good riddance. When Varsity first opened, I thought that was the baddest place.
It was cool.
And then it got weird. Yeah. I walked in one night. I had some friends from out of town. This was probably like 2017, 16, 17.
Yeah.
We walked in. It's me. And so I was probably the youngest one out of the group. Everybody else that was with me was probably in their late 30s, early 40s at the time. Yeah. But every single one of us were business owners, right? We walk in there, and they take one look at me, they check my ID. Okay, cool, go. And then the next guy in line, they check his ID, they look at him, and they go, I'm sorry, you can't come in here. He's like, what? It's like, yeah, you can't come in here dressed like that. And I turn around, and I go, I'm dressed exactly like him. And he's like, yeah, no, you can't come in here. Oh, no. He was like 3 or 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
And they're like, I guess they didn't want somebody that age in their establishment. I don't know.
Weird.
And I was like, dude, listen, I got it. I don't know. You got like your job to do.
Yeah.
But every single one of us are here to spend money.
Right.
And you're going to let me in, but not my friends? Yeah, he's like, yeah, you can leave too. I was like, all right. I never went back to Varsity. I was like,
Yeah, there's a lot of places down there like that though. And I know people that work on 7th Street and are bouncers on 7th Street, and they have not been able to walk into an establishment because they had a tank top on or something. And like one night I was wearing a tank top.
Yeah.
And the bouncer was wearing a tank top, and they weren't going to let him in. So I had a long sleeve shirt on, but it was like see-through. So I switched shirts with him. Little girl, big bodybuilder. We switched shirts to get into the bar. Like, just to be smartasses back. It's like, that doesn't even make sense. And they let us in, and then we switched shirts back, and then they thought it was funny. And you're like...
Well, varsity's closed now, so F them.
Well, I have
good
a
riddance.
funny story from there. Were you ever there? Like at night, they turned it into like a rave. Did you ever?
Oh yeah,
okay.
I have been there. When
I didn't know that happened. And my friends,
I left before that, but I knew what was going on.
My friend's band was playing there, Texas country band.
Okay,
wasn't done with their set yet, and manager comes up and says, "Hey, we're starting the rave. You got to get off the stage." And they had like 3 or 4 songs left, and they're like, "No, you got to go." And so they kicked him off the stage, and immediately, like before, I had to help my friends like get their stuff and equipment off of the stage. Before we were even done, they were like starting the rave. It's like, what just happened?
Ridiculous, yeah. And then probably half the people left, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's probably a gap there, and then maybe an hour later, all the TCU kids start rolling in.
Right.
And then after the TCU kids start rolling in, then the out-of-town oil-filled crew, they roll in with their paychecks that they just got. And it's a weird, dicey little environment down there.
It's
playing games to karaoke to rave. It was all over the place. And during COVID, they sold like nutrition bowls and shakes or something.
Really?
Varsity did.
Yeah, because I picked them up when DoorDash. To stay open, there'd be like 3 people at the bar, all spread out because you couldn't set close,
right.
And that's how they stayed open.
Well, they had to do something, right?
Yeah.
Restaurants or
weird.
bars, they had to, in order to stay open, they had to sell food.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
So you're getting a health food bowl from the back of a bar. It just felt weird picking it up.
Yeah,
Delicious.
Yeah, I'm sure it was good.
Any badass Fort Worth places that have closed down recently that you're pissed about?
I mean, none that I can think of off the top of my head.
Kind of put you on the spot. The worst one for me was there was a chicken fried steak place on Exchange at the top of the hill, and I want to say it was Union Hill or something like that.
Horseshoe Hill.
Horseshoe Hill. Yeah. When that thing closed down, dude, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
To me, that was the worst one because I just found that place. That was the best chicken fried steak I'd ever had in my life.
Really?
I got to eat there maybe twice.
Yeah.
That was a big place for the downtown crew going.
And then COVID happened, and it was gone overnight.
Sucks.
They just couldn't take it.
Yeah.
Lazona's one of mine.
What's Lazona's?
The one that was on Magnolia.
I don't remember them.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was in the old Maggie's R&R.
Oh, you've
Yeah,
talked
I've
about
talked
that.
about it. It was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a little taco place next door. Now it's kind of all one, but it was like a little taco place, and then Lazona's, and they had like pizzas and kind of I want to say like a Spanish themed kind of bar that was like hotel vibe, like Madridish.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool little place, but
We're
I
getting
didn't
some
make it either.
good stuff down there, though.
Well, I do like the Magnolia area.
Yes.
Nickel
Yes.
City's cool.
Yeah.
The speakeasy, I forget the name of it. The Amber Room.
Amber Room, I like that too.
There's some cool spots.
Is that in that same area?
That's it's on Old Main. But Amber Room is in the backside of Wishbone and Flint. And then you know where Nickel City is.
Yeah.
It's very close to there.
Our buddies over at the Funky Panther podcast, they love Nickel City.
Yeah, it's a cool little place.
Yeah, it's a good bar.
They're always changing up the theme in there. We went
During
a
Christmas.
couple weeks ago, and it was still Christmas theme. And it was just like, Jesus, how long did it take to do all this shit? But apparently they shut down for a couple days, and where did they keep all this crap? I don't know, because they do the same thing with Halloween.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in charge of that.
No.
Do you ever go to Pouring Glory?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I have to check that one out.
I'm always trying to go there for the chicken wings. And Scott, the owner, last time we were there, I had the chicken wings, and he walks up to the table and he's like, I just want you to know, you're the only reason I keep those damn things on the menu. I'm like, hell yeah. Okay, well, don't keep it for me, but keep them on the menu.
Keep them on the menu. Yeah.
They have excellent chicken wings.
Yeah.
It's hard to find places that have good chicken wings now because the price for chicken has gone up so much that a lot of places quit carrying it, or they're going for like a subpar substitute. Like maybe they were using this brand, but now they're using this brand. You go in there, you order the chicken wings, you get them, and you're just like, I'm not eating that.
Yeah.
Literally, we went to the poop deck over there next to TCU.
Blue Bonnet Circle. Not is it? Yeah, that's Blue Bonnet Circle.
I haven't been there, but I've heard about it. Yeah.
So usually their food's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And it's another place I'd go for chicken wings.
Yeah.
They brought the chicken wings out, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, those do not look right.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell what it was, but something was off.
Right.
Took one bite out of it, and I'm like, nope, no. And I hate doing that. Like, I'm sorry, I can't eat this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order something else.
I
took 2 bites out of it. I was like, well, maybe that first bite was just.
And he let me try it.
It was weird. It was like freezer burned or something.
Or something.
But I'm telling you, chicken has just gotten so expensive that they're like, probably what happened was they're like, oh, we can't throw these out.
Yeah.
They're obviously bad, but some drunk asshole's
Somebody's
gonna eat these,
them,
right?
Yeah.
Not this asshole.
No.
So anyway, things are different, man. It's we had some friends over in the studio while I was interviewing Pooh Live Crew earlier, and kid, your friend's
Jackson.
son, I think he's 12, right? He came in and he's like, "Do you have peanut butter?" And I was like, "Actually, I do." Because it's one of the things, like every time I'm at the grocery store now, I'm like, I'm just going to take a couple more of these peanut butters here. Because everything's so weird now.
Yeah.
And so I did have peanut butter. And then he was like, why do you have peanut butter? And I was like, well, if the trucks stop running. And then I looked at him and I was like, I need to stop talking to scare this kid to death. But it is something that you think about whenever, so many things have visibly changed in our environment. These restaurants and establishments closing down is one indicator. But then you drive by these car lots and they're bare.
Yeah.
There's no cars out there.
Renting a car is almost impossible too.
I haven't rented a car in a while.
Last time I pulled up to rent one, there was one car in the parking lot. And the one that I rented, they pulled around from back and you're like, where are they?
You go to the grocery store and then like stuff that's always been on the shelf, totally gone. Yeah. So I don't know. It feels weird. And then you listen to these economists talk about what's going on all over the world. It's not just the U.S.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
China, they're saying, is in a really bad situation right now because they're so overpopulated. And if anything happened to their logistical system with the trucks, the trains, or whatever, however they're getting their food,
right,
people would literally starve to death. Yeah. Like any little hiccup. And we're just maxed out across the board. Now, the U.S. is not nearly in as much danger of something like that as these other countries, but we're not far from it,
Well, we came close to seeing it with the mail with bad weather and stuff because it's like, if you can't run the trucks, then they shut down and that stops the movement, and that goes with food and stuff like that too. A couple of years ago, it was really bad. And seeing that firsthand at the post office, they had 19 trucks in line at the post office up there not being worked, and then here, you're ready for them.
Right.
But you can't get them from there to here because of the weather. So it's like it became a really bad situation in some areas.
But I think like everything else that's happened to us, we'll find a way to adapt to just about anything that gets thrown at us. So we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Just keep the generator handy.
Yeah.
Live on peanut butter.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Yeah.
I like the plan.
What do you stock up on? Huh? You got some doom prepper stuff that you stock up on?
Man, I will say that when COVID...
You're hoarding TP, aren't you?
Right. I'm the one that bought it all.
Yeah, I'm the one that didn't buy it at all because I had one big thing and it lasted me.
Just real quick on that. So my mom... Sorry, Mom, if she's listening. She called me. She's like, make sure you stop and you pick up some toilet paper today because you would not believe these idiots are out there and they're just buying up all the toilet paper. They're buying all of it. There's nothing on the shelves anymore. I said, all right, yeah, well, I'll see if I can pick up. Thanks, Mom. See if I can pick up a couple of rolls of toilet paper. And she goes, yeah, and if you can't, don't worry about it because we got like 36 cases. I picked them up because those idiots are buying it all up, so I made sure we had ours. Like, okay. You don't see what you did there, Mom?
That's why I did not. I bought the bare essentials, and I did not. I was proud of myself.
Sorry, I kind of offer.
Yeah, that's funny. No, I mean, definitely not a prepper. But when COVID happened, when it was starting, and I saw what was happening in Italy, I did go and buy like a bunch of rice and beans and canned food and stocked up. I did not think about buying toilet paper at that time.
No, why?
I know.
Why would you even think of that?
Right, exactly.
But it was kind of alarming though. As soon as they're like, we're running out of toilet paper, I'm like, oh, well, that is a problem.
Yeah. Well, there was no bullshit either. You go to the store and
it was gone.
Where I ended up getting some a few times was my parents in Abilene. So like the small towns around Abilene,
They're good?
like, yeah, they didn't have any problems apparently.
Well, or is like the little bitty small places, like the Dollar Trees and stuff, like would get like little small shipments. People could go there
Right.
and get it. But I mean, at one point, my brothers do loss prevention. They had to guard the toilet paper aisle.
That's crazy.
I'm not joking. Like standing at both ends of it
Well, and
because it was that
They
ridiculous.
put a quantity restriction on it too.
That's yeah.
At some point, they're like, "I'm sorry, you can only buy 2 of those."
Right.
Well, because then you got on like Facebook Marketplace and people opened up these
Oh,
like
yeah,
storage
that's
units and they're full of
crazy.
all the stuff and that they're reselling it. It's
Yeah.
like that is not the reason
Yeah,
to be buying
I think
it.
some people got in trouble for that too. I think.
Yeah.
And then gas is the same way.
Oh man.
Anytime they're like, "Oh, there might be a problem with gas
Right.
next week," everybody goes to the pump and fills up.
Right.
And our system just can't
Yep.
handle that
Well,
extra load.
And what's scary is that happened with toilet paper, but what if it was meat? What if it was veggies? Like,
Well, it happened with meat for a minute
Yeah,
too,
I
where the
guess it
meat
did happen.
counters were empty, and then
Right.
coming after COVID, when the chicken wings thing started, there was some of the chicken plants that there was other chicken that you couldn't get, and then it was kind of a rolling thing. It was like brisket was next, and then you couldn't get ribs. And being in the restaurant industry at the time, it was cycling where you couldn't get different things each week, and we couldn't keep like the same appetizers on the menu because the same things weren't available,
Right.
and you were bouncing between more than one supplier just to keep your food
Jeez.
stocked, and it was like a rotating problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's over. I think we're going to see a lot more of our favorite restaurants maybe go out of business. I mean, just talking to Scott over at Pour and Glory,
The cost of doing business.
he's trying so hard to keep the menu
Yeah.
at the prices that he's had for, forever.
Yeah.
But how do you do that? Especially when things are fluctuating like that. Like eggs. Eggs are through the roof, and a lot of what we enjoy, baked goods and otherwise, it's got eggs in it.
Right.
So, I don't know. We went to breakfast at a
River Oaks Breakfast Cafe or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and they had a sign on the door, and it's like, "Yo, eggs are expensive. You buy something with eggs, there's going to be an upcharge." And I was like, "That's fair.
Right.
That's what you do, right? You put a big old sign out front, put it on the menu.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is the world we're living in right now.
Yeah.
You want us to keep this place open? It's going to be an extra $4.
Right.
Yeah.
It sucks, but that's the way it is. Yep.
So I have a question for you.
Okay.
I know that you do the daily designs, and then you were talking about like the trailer thing. Weren't you working on maybe some other kind of big project with some automation maybe? Or was that the same thing?
Yeah. So I guess I forgot about that. Me and a couple other guys started a company a few months ago called Bot Bros, and we're selling robot welding cells.
Hold on, what's that? What is that?
It's exactly what it sounds like. So it's a robot, and let's just say it's a 10 by 10 cell.
Yeah.
It has a positioner. So if you're building something over and over again,
10 foot by 10 foot?
Yeah.
Or, okay, damn.
if you're building whatever it is, something that fits in that cell that you're building over and over again, we design a positioner that you basically just put your cut parts into, program it, and the robot goes to town and welds these assemblies.
It's almost like a 3D printer
Pretty much.
with steel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're getting that going right now. And so my partners on this are super knowledgeable on the robot side of it. I'm not so much knowledgeable on the robot side of it. I kind of design everything around the robot.
But on the software side, right?
No. So one of our partners, he does more of the software side of it.
Okay.
He actually works for the company that sells these robots, or KUKA robots.
KUKA.
Yeah. And then, so what I'm designing is like what the robot sits on basically, and how the positioner, I'll take whatever the customer wants to weld, put it in my 3D modeling program, and then build around that.
Yeah, so you set the rig up.
Right.
Okay. Very cool, man.
So that's,
Y'all are in the process of putting that together?
yeah.
So you have a website up yet?
Yeah, it's called Bot Bros.
EOTBROS.
That's it.
.com.
.com.
Okay, I'll try to put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Don't forget Andrew.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited about that, and it's something, like I said, it's not something I saw myself getting into, but one of the partners, Austin Larimore, he kind of spearheaded this thing, and he did it because he has a robot welder that it took him years to get it to work right. The integrators he used just didn't do a very good job, and so he was like, I think I can put a crew together and do this better.
Yeah, than the robot.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the integrator. So, I mean, there's a lot of steps that go into it. You know, it's not just plug and play necessarily.
Right.
But if you don't have somebody to show you or teach you how to run it properly, then it can be a nightmare. And that's kind of where he ended up spending a lot of time and money. And finally, he got it to where it needs to be, but it took longer than it should have, and it cost way more than it should have.
Yeah. But now the momentum's moving forward.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
That's good.
And these things are blowing up, man. I mean, there's a lot of companies that are in the market for this, and so we're trying to jump in.
So is there something kind of market specific that y'all are trying to target? I mean, it's 10 by 10, so you had something in mind, right?
Not necessarily. So that would be our standard cell. Yeah. But we can make a custom cell. So, you know, we quoted one recently that was about 40 foot long, 16 foot wide.
Damn.
And so these robots are on tracks, basically.
Yeah.
And this one was a 2 robot systems because you can't reach all the way across with one robot. And so, you know, we're open to do really anything that's able to be automated. We'll figure out a way to automate it.
So give me an idea. Like, do y'all have some projects on the horizon that examples of what you're going to do with it?
So, like this customer, for example, they make really big concrete forms for like bridges and things like that. And so it's not very complicated. You know, it's sheet metal basing with gussets every so often. Yeah. And so it's repeatable. Mm-hmm. So that's, you know, one example. Trying to think another one. These guys were making, I don't even know. I think these boxes were some sort of electrical box, but it's about a 5 by 5 or 5 by 1 foot box. I mean, there was really nothing to it except it's a really long weld that's really hard for a person to do, but not very hard for a robot to do.
Robot's going to have no trouble with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
well, we'll have to find some videos of that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you go to the website, we have some videos on there. And then like my partner, Austin, his robot's on there, and you can kind of get an idea of what it is cool. And how it works.
Yeah, the new technologies that are getting implemented now. Like I saw a video the other day of a power company trying to clear debris off of a large power line.
Right.
Can you imagine how they did that?
How?
They used a drone with a flamethrower.
That's awesome.
So they've just got this massive
I think I saw that.
drone with like 10 rotors on it.
Right.
And it's up there with a big old flamethrower.
Yeah.
And I mean, the flame it's putting out, the video I watched, it looked like sustained flame shooting probably 20 feet for a good 45 seconds.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fuel.
Right.
You would think.
Yeah.
On this drone I don't know how they carry that much of a load.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they do that.
Now Amazon's talking about, I don't know, I haven't heard anything about this in a couple of years, so they might have scrubbed the whole idea, but they built these special trucks that were going to have a carrier in the top on the ceiling or the roof.
Right.
And it was going to have a drone, and the drone could take a package up to 10 pounds, 30 minutes one way and 30 minutes back. So this would be good for like a rural carrier.
Right.
So they'd pull up to the address, deploy the drone with the 10 pound package, and it would go up this big drive. Maybe it's, you know, a mile down the road.
Yeah.
Deliver it, come back. It'd save a lot of time, a lot of money.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty badass. But anyway, there's a lot of technology that's come about that people are finding a way to integrate into stuff that we've already done, but now we're doing it better.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot.
Spans most industries, too.
So what do you got left on the docket this weekend, Josh?
Not a whole lot.
Gonna go catch any live music?
Not this weekend, I don't think. I saw there's some good shows.
Always.
I mean, there always is, yeah. But no, not today. I haven't eaten lunch today, so I'm probably going to go eat something.
February 4th, the Pooh Life Crew, we just found out, is going to be at the Ridgely Theater, so
that's awesome.
We'll be at that one. You should come check it out.
I should, yeah. I mean, I've heard good things. I haven't seen them.
They're incredible.
Yeah.
They put on a great show. It's essentially a cover band, but they have their own thing.
Right.
I think he was telling me they've won best cover band in Fort Worth 4 or 5 times by the Fort Worth Weekly. It's a good show. So
yeah,
I'm psyched. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we'll have to grab a beer sometime. I mean, it sounds like we hang out all at the same places.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's close. It's a big city, though. It's somehow, know, because we'll have conversations with people like, how are we missing you?
Right.
You know? But it's a big city.
Yeah.
So, all right. Where can people find Durley Designs?
It's daily.design.com, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then Bot Bros
Bot Bros.
We have all of that too. Just look us up. If you're interested in anything, let me know.
And it will be in the show notes.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to come by and just talk about live music, Fort Worth, or drones, or the next crazy business venture that you're getting into.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be something this year.
Josh, thanks so much.
Yeah, nice meeting you, man.
Fort Worth Roots, thank y'all for listening, and we will see you next week. Josh Martinez, thank you for being on the Fort Worth Roots podcast. Get him at botbros.com or durleydesign.com like we talked about in this episode. That will be in the show notes. You can also find Durley Design, that's DERLY Design, on Instagram to see all his cool little masterpieces that he shared with us through the social medias. Josh, thanks again, man. Hope to see you soon. All right, let's get into it. Springfest 2023, April 22nd. The River Oaks Springfest Car Show is something that we did last year, and it was awesome. This year is going to be better, bigger and better, and badder. Still ironing out the details. I actually met with the founder of the River Oaks Springfest Car Show, Mr. Darren Houk. He's putting this thing on. We went and toured the grounds today. Started off, my morning started off at like 7 a.m. and it was 52 degrees. And by the time we got out there to YMCA Camp Carter, it was like 40 degrees. And we're both wondering, what are we doing out here? So we left. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But things are happening, people are talking, and we are making plans for the River Oaks Springfest Car Show 2023. April 22nd, and we want you out there. So make sure you put that on your calendar. It's going to be a great time. If YMCA Camp Carter had nothing going on, it's just nice to get out there on their 300, 400 acre property. It's really wild because it's this beautiful place right in the middle of Fort Worth. When you're there and you look around, it feels like you're 1,000 miles away, but you're right here in the middle of Fort Worth. So come check it out. It's going to be fun. There's going to be vendors out there, lots of live music, food, festivities. It's going to be fun. More details to come. Again, April 22nd. Okie dokie. Don't forget about our friend Joe Guzman, who is putting on the Psychedelic Panther. We were out there last year. We took the Fort Worth Roots podcast to it. I can't remember how many artists he had last year, but it was 3 days long. So many vendors out there, so many live bands on 2 different stages. This year, they're going to be doing it out at Lola's, the new Lola's, and I don't know if they're going to be utilizing both stages or not, but we talk about this in an episode that I just did with Joe Guzman, and that episode is going to be dropping here shortly with all of the details. If you want to find details yourself, you can go to Psychedelic Panther on Facebook. They also have a website, Psychedelic Panther Fest. Oh, that's his email, psychedelicpantherfest@gmail.com. And I'm under the impression he is still looking for vendors. So if you'd like to be a vendor out there, do not hesitate. I'm looking at their very cool Facebook page like right now. Let's see. What are the dates? Where are the dates? Okay, Friday, April 7th through April the 9th. It's only going to be, well, that doesn't sound right because it's only supposed to be 2 days this year. It says 2 days right there. April 7th at 8 p.m. is whenever it starts, and it's a 2-day event. Lola's is located at 2000 West Berry Street, Fort Worth, Texas, and 173 people are interested in going on Facebook. It's going to be fun. Last year was great. This year is going to be more greater. That's going to be a busy month, April, because you got that, and then you got the River Oaks Springfest Car Show. I want you to come to both. We, of course, will be there, set up, smiling, shaking babies, kissing hands, that whole thing. So come check it out. And then this weekend, you've got Pooh Live Crew, February 4th, Saturday, at Ridgely Theater. You can go to PoohLiveCrew.com to get tickets. All right, and that's all the events right now. Of course, we've got lots more coming, but I don't want to overload you with details, so let's just focus on those right now, okay? Lots of stuff, always. There's always something going on in Fort Worth, and we're going to do our best to make sure you know all the cool stuff. Okay, sponsors, woodpostmetalworks.com. You can go to woodpostmetalworks.com and see all their awesome stuff. Lately, they've been doing a lot of home signage, customized metal signs for your home. They also do a lot of custom stuff for your businesses. There's a lot of really cool, you've probably seen some around town, signs that they make for businesses out of steel with their plasma cutting. So anyway, lots of good stuff there, lots of good gift ideas, lots of stuff for your business. Use podcast 817 at checkout for 10% off, just for being a Fort Worth Roots podcast listener. Houk Walker Originals. You can go to houkwalker.com. These are the folks that did an incredible job making our tumblers last year at the Pouring Glory, our little event that we did, which we will be doing again this year. Have not got the okay go ahead from Scott, the owner out there at Pouring Glory, but I think we're good to go. Right, Scott? Scott's listening. Let me know, Scott. But yeah, a little bit of time to plan on that one. But yeah, Houk Walker Originals made our cups. They were awesome. And these people are problem solvers too. I just needed a, what is that graphic? I can't remember what format this is, but I needed a different format for my logo just recently because we're going to this event. I think it's February 17th for Visit Fort Worth. I think tickets are sold out, but it's going to be a good shindig, and Fort Worth Roots is going to be there representing the city of Fort Worth. Anyway, I needed a logo. I needed a different format, so I called up my friend Angela at Houk Walker Originals. I said, "Please help me. I need a different format for my logo, and I don't have it." And lickety split, an hour later, she had 4 different versions of the same logo in different formats and stuff like that. These people know what they're doing. So if you need something customized, gift idea, or for the office that they can do with their laser engraver, these are the people for that. And they do a lot of other stuff too, woodworking and custom pins and stuff like that. So go check them out, houkwalker.com. These people are great. All the sponsors that we have here at the Fort Worth Roots podcast are good people with very high ratings, and they put out awesome stuff. That was one of the requirements that we had whenever we decided we were going to start looking for sponsors, is that they had to be respected by the community, and we had to be comfortable putting our name next to theirs. And so whenever you hear me talking about somebody, it's somebody that I'm confident is going to take care of you and provide you with a good product or service. And that's where Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk comes in. These guys have the best reputation in the community for a local roofer that you're going to find. You can do your homework yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go to roofingsolutionshouk.com or just do a Google search for Roofing Solutions by Darren Houk and see what their ratings look like. You'll be impressed. But if you call them or go to their, just call them, 817-882-6520. They'll come out and they'll do a roofing inspection. Roofing tune-up, which is also a roofing inspection. But you get 50% off just by being a Fort Worth Roots podcast listener. And we don't talk about this all the time because I'm trying to abbreviate these ads for you, these shout-outs for our sponsors. But just so you know what a roofing tune-up is, they get up there, they take a look at the caulking around the vents and pipes and things that stick out of your roof. Make sure that those are sealed up tight, and try to identify any kind of other damage that might be up on your roof. And this will save you thousands of dollars, literally. That sounds very pitchy, very salesy when I say it like that, but it's true. I have a buddy that called me in a panic. This was several months ago, but he's like, "Hey man, who's the guy that does the roofing for the podcast?" And I told him who it was. "What's going on?" "Well, we just got a lot of water damage after that last rainstorm, and we don't know what to do." If he had a roofing tune-up, Darren could have identified the damage that he had on his roof before it became a problem. Waiting to find out something like this can cause a lot of damage. So don't wait. Have somebody take a look, qualified professional with a great rating here in the local community. That's a tongue twister. Have him check it out and prevent any kind of unwanted costs that's associated with not taking care of your roof. You live in North Texas, it's going to be a problem. Take the number down, 817-882-6520. Thank you to our sponsors. You guys are the best, and we love you. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. You're the best. That's it. That's all the events. That's all the sponsors. If you guys would like to sponsor the Fort Worth Roots podcast as a listener, our listener support option is through the Patreon website. You You go to patreon.com. You can type in Fort Worth Roots Podcast or just Fort Worth Roots in the search bar. It'll pull up our Patreon account. And from there, it will show you the different tiers that we have available. I think there's only 2 right now. I've tried to do other stuff in the past, but right now it's just 2. You can just simply donate to the show for, I think, $4, $3 or $4 for the for the little tier, the little, hey, here you go tier. And then if you want to have access to our full library where we just drone on and on and on these episodes. Like if you find an hour-long episode on Spotify, it's probably an hour and a half long on the Patreon app. And you can get all the little unedited, delightful, unsmoothed out versions of these episodes right there on the Patreon app. I do it for extra content and to show our most avid listeners and supporters what it sounds like before we start smoothing out the episode. So it's there. And some episodes literally go for hours longer than what you get on Spotify and Pandora or YouTube. So just a little extra for your support. We're trying to do big things. We've got a music festival that I haven't told you about yet that I'll just lightly mention here, but I'm going to start doing music festivals for you across the city. It's going to be cool. We're going to have lots of musicians at a lot of different venues, and we're going to invite you out to do cool stuff with us. It's going to be the best. You're going to love it. And then we're talking about having an option for our Patreon patrons that get into these events free. So there's that. Okay, it is cloudy outside, and I cannot wake the hell up. I've got Joe Savage in studio today. He'll be here any minute. Oh, my God. Yeah, literally any minute. All right, so that's enough talking out of me. Thank y'all for listening to this week's episode, and I will see you next week. Peace.